Welcome to Cavaletto Studios. I'm Chris. This is a fully guided yin yoga practice with a variety of variations to accommodate all levels. Each posture will be held for 3 minutes, so let's begin. Here we are for our yin yoga practice. So let's just start to gently move the body side to side. So we can just check in to see how the hips are, how the spine is. Now today we are going to be using options with the blanket and the yoga block. If you don't have a yoga blanket, feel free to use a big beach towel and roll it up to make it nice and comfortable and soft. And then find your center. So if you do have that big beach blanket or towel or a yoga blanket, option 1 is to start out for our seated posture. We're going to just slide that blanket right underneath those sits bones, and you can sit a little taller. We can really delve into the length of the spine. And then we're going to take our right hand, walk the fingers to the floor, place the palm down, and then draw that left arm over the head. And now here, just relax your shoulders. Now we're just starting out right now, so we're going to hold this one for just a couple breaths, just to let the body know that we're going to start to melt deeper into the postures and then transition to the other side. Now each posture we are going to hold for about 3 minutes when we get into that area. Oh, that feels so good. And then breathe in and up and over. And then exhale, and then inhale up and over. One more time. And then we're going to add a twist when we come back. So come all the way up and inhale, twist gently to the right. Just again, checking in to see what's going on. And then all the way to the other side. And then coming back to center. A couple shoulder rolls here. Up, back, and down. Let the head move. Fabulous. Now we're going to have the legs crossed in Sukhasana, easy seat, and feel free to put whatever leg forward you'd like. And we are going to start with that side stretch for our first 3 minutes. So place that right hand on the floor, start to reach the left arm over the head, and then just relax. Now close your eyes if you would like. Let your right ear go towards the right shoulder, but keep that right shoulder relaxed. And as you're here, I want you to think about your breath. And notice what's going on in the left side of the body, that left armpit, reaching that left arm over your head. Maybe you can walk your right hand out further. And maybe that feels good. You don't want to be collapsing on that right side of the body. Maybe you can drop all the way to the elbow. But make sure you're not rolling up off of that left hip. If that feels too much, you can stay up. And if you want, you can even take the blanket out and get a little lower. So I'm going to show option, like if I drop that blanket, it's easier for me to drop down. And just, again, exploring. This is about exploring what is going on in your body. If the head is getting tired, just draw that chin towards the chest a little bit to help relieve any tension in the neck. And maybe roll the ear back towards the shoulder. You're about a minute in. Focus on that breath, maybe the Ujjayi breath. Feel the upper back starting to relax. Maybe you melt a little deeper into it. And then continue breathing. Maybe you feel a little shakiness in the legs. You think, wow, this is challenging when we just start out here. But I want you to back off a little. If it's too challenging, you can always walk your hands back up, and you can always bring that arm down if that bothers your shoulder. It also helps lengthen and strengthen and elongate those muscle tissues as well as the fascia. It's hydrating. And sometimes we get that mind chatter going on. You got 1 more minute. Couple breaths here. And just see if you can melt a little deeper. Maybe your arm can reach a little further. Turn your head and look down at your elbow. Notice what's going on in the shoulders, the back, maybe even down to the belly and the hips. The fingertips are wide on the floor, spread out. We're almost there. And in yin, you can always have the option of holding the postures for 5 minutes. We're just doing 3 today, so we can get some more in for this full practice. Again, you want to feel a nice, gentle, comfortable stretch in the tissue, but never pain. You never want pain. And then slowly bring that left arm all the way down to the floor. Slowly lift yourself up. And then just sit nice and tall for a moment. Let everything, what we call the rebound. So the tissue has to kind of reorganize, get back to normal. You might feel some whooshing, I call it whoosh, a rushing of that blood flow. It's so good for the body. And I find, yin it can be very challenging. Some people absolutely love it. Some people find it very challenging depending on what you have going on in your mind and your body. All right, we're gonna sit tall. And again, maybe you have the blanket under you. I'm showing both options here. Take the left arm, we're gonna work our way to the other side. Place the left palm on the floor and then start to reach your right arm overhead. We melt into it. Don't force it. As your body starts to adapt to this position, it'll start to relax a little more. The first 20 seconds are vital. That's when things start to calm down. You'll be able to melt a little deeper into the posture, maybe walk your elbow out. And it's not about how low you can get, it's about what you feel in your body. And again, for me, I like to sit on the blanket, but then I like to take my blanket out because I can get a little more comfortable and not have to force things. And be mindful of what's going on with that right leg. As you reach that right arm overhead, let your head hang heavy so you're not putting pressure on that neck, spreading out those fingers. Tune back into your breath and notice what's going on. Do you feel it down into the hip flexor? We're really going to get into those hips today and the quads, the glutes. We're going to do some hip openers, melting a little deeper into it. So yin has amazing, wonderful things that it does with the body. That was your first minute, reaching that right arm overhead and just noticing if your head gets tired, turn your chin down, looking down at your elbow. That might take some pressure off of the neck. And you're just breathing the whole time and noticing the difference. Maybe this side feels easier. So I'll tell you a little secret. Yin has always been a big challenge for me. For me to sit still is if you've seen my other videos, I prefer to flow. Maybe sit into the postures like a little deeper, the challenging ones, but yin is hard for me to sit still. And when I get into those for such a long period of time, and maybe you're feeling this now, the tissue really starts to lengthen and release and hydrate. But it can be so challenging as well. So we just want to relax into it again. Let go of any pain, move out of it a little if you have pain. 1 more minute. Check in with the neck, relax your shoulders. Check in with the side of the body, the right side, even the left, making sure the left is not collapsing. You don't want to feel pain, like I'm going to keep saying that to remind you. You want it to feel good. Sometimes there's a little discomfort, so make adjustments to move out of that so you can stay and breathe comfortably. If you ever get so deep into your postures that you can't breathe, that's where you want to back out. Slowly release that right arm. We are all done. Walk yourself up and sit up nice and tall. You might feel taller now. And just feel that blood flow maybe going up into the brain. Close your eyes for a minute. Let your palms rest on your thighs. Feels so good. Excellent. So I'm going to move that mat or the blanket out of my way. I'm going to uncross your feet. Go ahead and place your feet flat on the floor, hands behind your back. And I want you to just gently draw your knees side to side. Just a nice way to loosen up what we just did. Back and forth. So hopefully you'll walk easier and move easier after today's class. One more time each side. Excellent. Now we're going to do the half butterfly. So I'm going to turn long ways on my mat. Go ahead and straighten out both legs and just feel how it feels. Pull those sits bones out. And again, this is another option you have of putting that blanket underneath those sits bones again, because it's going to help rotate those hips. So with it under there, you can lift that belly up and forward towards those thighs and help get a little extra stretch. What we're going to do is we're going to bend the right knee, and I want you to pull it in and then let it drop open to the side. So the bottom of your foot is up against your left thigh, the right bottom of your foot up against left thigh. If it bothers your knee to go that far, you can have your knee out further, and that is fine. Lift through the spine, and then start to walk your hands forward. We're just going to breathe here. And again, you can stay on the blanket if you have any back issues going, or you don't have to. And then you just melt forward. Now, this is one you want to really just focus on the breath. Let gravity start to assist your head to come towards the knee and arms reaching out. So here, I want you to just hang out and start to do a scan of what is going on in the body. What is going on in your back, your right hip, your left hamstring and calf, your ankle. And as you breathe, notice how gravity is starting to sink you a little deeper, and that knee can move. You can like maybe flex it and release it, engaging those thigh muscles, and then let them relax. If you squeeze and then release them, they might let go a little more, and you can go a little deeper, and the elbows might start to float towards the floor. Again, never forcing it. The reason we sit into this, that's a minute. We have 2 more minutes. So as you're melting into it, when we're not forcing it, the body will gradually support our movements. It adapts. And just continue breathing. I know it's really challenging sometimes to hold postures for a long time. So I challenge you to focus and breathe. Close your eyes. See if your head can melt closer to your knee. Wiggle the toes if you need to. Notice any tension in the shoulders. Pull them away from the ears. The body's, so that tissue's lengthening, the body's lengthening. It's hydrating. The fascia is so happy right now. We're getting there. You never want any nerve pain either. 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Just checking my timer there. See if you can melt a little deeper. Again, very gently. Very gently. You want this to feel good. It should feel good now. Feel all that tissue lengthening and stretching. If this is the first time you've done yin, let me know. And breathe. We're just about there. All right, we just made our 3-minute mark, so we're going to walk those hands up nice and slow. So the important thing is whenever you come out of a posture in yin, you want to go very slowly so you don't damage the tissue. So just sit up nice and tall. Let's pull that right knee into the chest. Good. And then slowly let that leg go out. You might feel a little bit of blood flow to that right leg. That's wonderful. Sit up nice and tall. I think you're ready. Are we ready to go to the other side? So I'm going to pull that left knee in, and I'm just going to let it fall open. And pull that foot to, again, where it feels comfortable. Lift through the spine, rotate towards that right leg. And then first just gently put your hands next to the body as we start our 3 minutes. Feel the shoulders start to relax. Start to let your body drift forward towards the thigh. And just find that spot, that sweet spot I call it, where you are just hovering here. It's comfortable. It's not stressful at all. And the body can start to lengthen and relax. Yeah. Just think about a rubber band, like if you're starting to stretch it, but you do it super slow. It's kind of what's going on in the body. We're starting to really lengthen, stretching. See if you can walk your hands maybe a little bit closer towards your feet. Notice, just take notice what's going on behind the leg, behind the knee. If you need to wiggle your ankle or your foot or your toes, that's fine. Remember, this is a practice, so I want you to delve into exploring what your body is comfortable going to, what level, without forcing. We're melting a little closer. Again, notice the change as you go a little closer towards that leg. If you find yourself forcing things, just try to back off a little and tune into the breath. Another deep breath. Feel the belly relaxing. You have 1 more minute. Feel how that tissue is lengthening. You want it to feel so good. Again, never forcing it. Almost there. Nice. I think we're about there. And then we're going to walk it up. And then slowly walk it up. And then pull that left knee in and then straighten out the leg. Shake it out. Check in with the spine, check in with the body. Just feel everything. Sometimes, are you feeling like your brain is going, let's go, let's go? So just breathe through that. And then pull both legs in and let's find our butterfly. Bottoms of the feet together, holding on, lift tall. Now, a couple options, just start to sink forward. We are going to hold this one. You can let your elbows go out. This is where maybe you want to have, again, you can use that blanket under your hips. You can even take it and fold it up. You can use a block. You can bring your head into your hands. You can use a blanket or a block here. And just relax. And maybe some of you are more flexible and you can come a little lower. Maybe you're comfortable just sitting like this with the elbows out. Again, explore what's okay with your body. Maybe you want to walk the arms forward and just feel that through the upper back a little more and the lower back. Tune into your breath. Maybe look at your toes. Maybe open the toes and then press the toes together. And then try to relax your feet and let's close our eyes. And then tune in to your inhale and your exhale. Feel your shoulders relaxing a little more. And ask yourself if this is hard for you to be still. I have to ask myself the same thing. Some postures are more challenging than others to hold, especially hip openers. We got emotions that come up, our to-do list. We have 1 more minute here. Again, don't force anything, just let gravity assist. Breathing in and out. Bringing your fingertips closer to your feet. Our 3 minutes are just about done. And then we can walk up and out. Slowly lift your upper body first, and then pull in the knees together very slowly. Oh. And just let those hips relax for a moment. Good. And then bring your hands behind your back, and then feet flat, knees bent, and then gently let your knees drop to the right. And then slowly bring the knees up and let them drop to the left. Just a counter stretch, loosening things up. One more time, each side, to the right and then to the left. Now we're going to transition from here. So come back to center, and then go ahead and slide your blanket to the side, and we're going to come to all fours, to tabletop. So we're just going to do a little movement here. Let's do some cat-cows. Spread out the fingers, knees under the hips, and then draw the belly to the spine, round through the back. Push into those feet as you exhale, and then inhale, arch and lift, and then exhale, round. And then inhale, lift, and then exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, and then exhale, round. And last but not least, inhale, lift, and then exhale. Find your neutral spine, knees apart, feet together, and we're going to take a child's pose, but we're going to melt into our child's pose. So knees apart, feet together, walk the hands forward and go to your fingertips. And now the first one we're going to do is we're going to walk our hands to the right. And then you're going to lengthen the body, the left side, as you melt towards the mat. Maybe your head to the floor as we hold this for 3 minutes. And just breathe. Start to relax your arms a little bit to the floor. If it's challenging to get your head to the floor, feel free to put your head on a block or even the blanket or your towel. Maybe you can walk your left arm further to the right now. Maybe you can place your right hand on top of your left hand. And maybe you can start to shift your body slightly to the left, away from your hands on the right. And get deeper stretch. And just again, tune into that breath. First minute is done. See where the body is now. See if you can melt your hips closer to your heels. Maybe you have a blanket between your heels and your hips. Maybe your blanket's under your knees. That's fine. Make adjustments that feel good to you. You can also put like a foam pad under your knees if this is hard on your knees. Feel the belly as you fill it with air. Feel it contract as you exhale. One more minute. We're almost there. Just notice what's going on in the shoulders, the hips, your mind. Knowing we get to do the other side. Almost there. Slowly lift your head. Bring your fingertips back to the floor and walk them forward. Find your center and just melt here for a moment. Let's readjust. Let the body rebound. Then we're coming up and we're going to walk it to the left. And we're going to melt into it. Let your head rest on the floor. Maybe reach your right hand a little further. Really feel the length of the right side of the body. Maybe start to shift your body a little bit away from your hands. If you want, you can take your left hand and place it on top of the right and make adjustments for what feels good to you. If you need to, put that blanket again underneath you to give you more space. If it's hard to have the hips like this, first minute is done. Don't forget to breathe. See if you can melt a little deeper into your posture. Hopefully you're enjoying feeling as your body's starting to calm now. Starting to accept this position, this posture. And one more minute. Take a nice deep breath in and out. How is your belly? You're going to start to come up and out of that twisted child's pose. Come back to center. Bring the elbows in a little bit closer to the body so you can start to rebound. Good. And then we're slowly going to come all the way back up into our tabletop. And then a couple cat-cows, maybe tuck the toes. Sometimes it feels, you might feel discomfort coming out of those postures. So very slowly move yourself through your cat-cow. Let your body rebound. It might feel discomfort now, but once you get moving, the body feels amazing. Amazing, amazing. Good. So then we're going to walk our hands, our elbows forward all the way, and we're just going to slowly shift ourselves to our bellies. I want you to come all the way down, stack your hands, and first just rock your hips side to side. Loosen things up. Good. So we're going to do a counter stretch here as we move. I want you to bring your elbows out to this, out in front of you, hands on the floor, and just again adjust those hips as you come up. You're going to lengthen. Now your feet, where your legs go is up to you. Play around. Maybe it might feel more comfortable you to have feet closer. It might feel better on your back to have them further apart. And then just wobble, wobble, wiggle, wiggle those hips. And then start to lengthen. You're pulling the belly in, and you're pressing your palms into your, into the mat. And you're dragging, like you're going to drag your belly button forward as you lengthen and open through the chest. And now breathe. So we're doing a Sphinx pose. Now you can also draw the elbows a little closer if you have any kind of degenerative discs or bulging discs or things going on like that. Maybe just laying on the ground is plenty for you, and that's fine. So I'm just going to give options here. This is another one here is you want to pull your belly in. As you lengthen, you can also put the blanket under your elbows. So again, I'll show you options. If it's hard for your elbows to be on the floor for that long, throw elbows on a blanket. You can also, I'm going to throw another option at you. You can also fold your blanket or towel up and put it underneath your hips to give you a little more space between the floor. You're still pulling the belly in and lengthening, and you might get even more. And you never want to have pain in the low back. This is more about opening up the chest, lengthening through the belly. So whichever works for you. Open, open. Maybe you're lengthening a little more now, feeling the belly. Again, you want to feel that stretch through the belly, lengthen through the neck, but don't throw your head back. Good. Now you have options here also, is you can squeeze your thighs. You can squeeze those thighs in and fire up either side, the outer thigh and the inner thigh when you squeeze the legs and the glutes, or you can completely relax them. If you're more flexible, maybe you want to relax them and just really go into your posture and lift higher. Again, optional. If this is challenging and you're feeling your back and you want to stay lower, then just maybe fire up those legs. And then you also have the option of going deeper for our last minute into seal, opening the palms, and they're spreading out a little bit wider on your mat, and then you straighten out your arms. And again, optional, or you can even have that blanket under your hips, and the hands are out like, you know, like a seal for their hands, their fins. And just breathe here. Again, if you come up here and it pinches in your low back, then that's your body saying that's too much and that you should go lower. But I want you to feel the shoulders come away from the ears, lengthen through the neck, breathing, looking forward in front of you. Feeling the legs and the glutes, everything relax. Continue breathing. If you have sciatic, you might want to stay down low as well. We're just about, we're there. Good, so now you're gonna lower, if your elbows are off the floor, let's lower the elbows to the floor and then slide them out to the side so your belly can go down. And then I want you to, you can either put a cheek on the floor or your forehead on your hands, either way. But I want you to bring your head all the way to the floor and just relax here for a moment because we want to let the back rebound. Rebound, rebound. Feel all the, just think about all the stretching you just did and all the hydration and the lengthening of that tissue going on. Good, and then we're going to bring the hands next to the body. We're going to counter stretch. So go ahead and start to lift yourself up, tuck your toes under. Good. This time you're going to pull your knees in a little closer together, toes under. We're just going to do a counter stretch for a moment. So hands out in front and then just tuck your chin into your chest and round through your back. This is a nice counter stretch here. Feels so good. Good. And then we're going to come all the way up, back up to tabletop. Excellent. Untuck those toes. Now we're going to bring the right foot in front. And this is where you might want to block. So, or your blanket. So if this is very challenging to get your hands to the floor, maybe a yoga block is very helpful. That's an option. And we're going to take this into baby dragon. So the terms are a little different from in yin yoga. So it's also a variation of runner's lunge. So we're here, and you might just stay here with your block. If you would like to go deeper, walk your right foot towards the outside edge, a little bit closer to the outside edge of your mat, and bring your right shoulder on the inside. And just move those hips forward. And we're just holding this one for 3 minutes. Start to lengthen through the belly, open up the chest a bit. Feeling that left hip flexor starting to really stretch out and open up. Maybe you want to come up a little higher, all the way onto the thigh. That's an option. Trying to sit, be nice and lengthened, drawing, and that will make gravity push your hips down into that floor more. We're a minute in. We have 2 more minutes to go. So I'm going to show you a couple more options. If those of you who want to go deeper, if you don't like up, but you want to go lower, some people will take a block and they might place their outside elbow on the block. That's an option. You can also, maybe some of you take both elbows and place, or elbow on the floor, or both on the floor, and then pull that right knee in towards your chest. Just think about it, pulling in towards that right shoulder and chest area. If you feel that you want to pull it in with your right hand, that's an option. Keeping it close. So it's not only getting that hip flexor, but the hamstrings on that right. And just breathe, relax. It's amazing. You don't think 3 minutes is too long, but we are on our last minute here. And when you're holding a stretch, sometimes it can be very challenging depending on what we have going on. And the reason we don't force these stretches and we go so slowly into them is because we don't want to damage the tissue or pull anything. So you don't want to overstretch it. So that's why we don't force it. You just go to what feels comfortable to you. Relax your shoulders a little. That last minute's just about done. I'll tell you, the last minute always seems like the longest, doesn't it? If you're in a challenging posture. So we're going to slowly work our way out. So bring those hands to the floor. Gently bring your body up. Maybe this is where you use that block. Start to hinge your hips backwards towards your left heel. Maybe straighten out the front knee. Little rebound, pull the toe up. Good. And then go ahead and bring that right knee back. And place the hands on the floor and drop your hips gently side to side, just to loosen things up. And now we're going to the other side. So find your center, pull the shoulders away from the ears, and you're going to bring your left foot forward. And again, maybe this is the side because we're stretching out that right hip flexor, left hamstrings. Maybe this is where you need that block. And blocks have lots of different sides, so we're going to melt into it. We're starting our 3 minutes. Maybe walk your left foot out to the side. And just feel gravity gently pushing your hips towards the floor. So your right hip is in front of your right knee. Maybe you're on the floor. Try not to let your knee drop open on this one. We're going to keep it close to the shoulder. Maybe you want to walk it up. Maybe you want to go higher up and just use the block, or you can walk yourself all the way up onto that thigh. And again, when we come up, keeping that knee, see, my knee and my hip are totally in alignment. I walked it open a little, and my knee is over my heel ankle area. We never want to be able to, we want to keep our heels on the floor, not have that knees too far forward. Feeling that hip stretching. Now another option is to bring both hands in on, we got our first minute done. You can have your, again, left knee into left shoulder. You bring your elbow to a block, or you can do the elbows to the floor. Now if you come to the floor and you find that your knee automatically goes out, maybe just put one elbow on the floor and hug that knee in, or use that block. Or just give yourself time. Now, if your back right knee, if you're feeling anything there, push more into the top of your right foot so you have less pressure on your right knee. And just take notice if you feel a difference from this side to the other side. It's kind of amazing how it feels so different on this side compared to the other. Think about relaxing your neck, lengthening through it, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. If you feel any shakiness, feel free to back off a little. We have 1 more minute. Relax your toes, your left toes on the floor. Lengthen a little more through your spine, through your belly. Try not to collapse through your chest. Just about there. Feel those shoulders relax. They're pulling away from the ears. Notice the tissue of the body. Hips and the legs. We're slowly coming out. That was our 3 minutes. Walk your hands to the floor, but again, very, very slowly. Start to hinge your hips backwards towards your right heel. Straighten your left leg just for a counter stretch. Feels so nice. You might feel that blood flow into the toes. Good. And go ahead and bring both knees back to the floor. Hands and knees. And gently drop your hips side to side. That was fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. How are we all feeling? Are we feeling good? All right. We've got more to go. So the next one, we're going to do a little come back to that right foot. We're switching back to the first leg again. So we're going to bring that right foot forward again. So a couple of things you might want your block for, but we're going to go to, in Yin, it's called Swan. In regular yoga, you might know it as Pigeon. And I'm walking my right foot to the left side of my mat. And then I'm going to bring my hands in front of my right shin, and I'm dropping my right knee open. So now I'm on the outside edge of my right foot. Good. And I'm just going to inch my way here. Now this is where you might want your block. Place your block under that hip, because remember, we're going to be here for 3 minutes. Or other option is you can place a blanket under that hip if you want to melt into it, just to get a little support. So you can kind of level out those hips, left hip going towards that left heel, and then start to melt into it for our swan. Push into that left top of your foot, lift the knee, and maybe lengthen that leg a little further behind you. Really lengthen it. Now you can also have that block under your forehead if you would like, or you can walk your hands forward and place your forehead on the floor. And just breathe here. Make adjustments as you need it. Maybe pushing into the top of the foot on that left leg to adjust the leg a little longer. If this bothers your knee to have it bent so much, again, that's where you want to throw a pillow, excuse me, or a blanket or something under that right hip. Continue breathing. We've got our first minute done. Check in with your breath. See if you can take a bigger, deeper breath and expand through the chest and the belly, and then exhale. Feel the shoulders relax. Feel your belly fall closer to your shin or the calf, to that leg. Continue melting into it. And again, never feeling pain. We have 1 more minute. So it's also a great way to cleanse the body when we're doing these long holding postures. Releasing toxins in the body. Helping the kidney and the gallbladder meridians with some of these postures. We're going to get to that one later. And the urinary tract. But this is also helping it. See if you can melt a little deeper into your swan. Maybe lengthening that back leg a little more. Maybe shifting more to your right hip. And then we're slowly, that's it. 3 minutes is up. We're coming out. Now as you come out, again, super slow. Super slow. We're going to slowly bring that leg back, come to our tabletop. And then just draw those hips side to side. And notice the difference. Maybe get some blood flow. Go ahead and take that right leg that you had bent up there and just straighten it to the back of your mat. Your toes are tucked under. Just give a little press into the back of that mat. Really lengthen. Start to draw that right hip downward to the right side of your mat, just enough to get a little extra stretch, and then release it. And then take your left foot forward now. We're going to the other side. So we're going to walk that left leg up in front, coming back to our runner's lunge, but then start to walk your left foot to the right side of the mat, and then drop that knee open onto your mat, and then start to adjust. So wiggle into it, because again, you don't want to drop into it, you want to wiggle into it. Find that comfortable spot. Really lengthen through that back right leg. So I started the 3-minute timers going. So just sit into this. You can slowly take your time, walking the elbows down, and just breathe here. And again, throw that blanket underneath if you need to. Sometimes it's just nice to have it at the very beginning so you can get more comfortable and the body will adapt a little bit quicker because it's not having to work so hard, melting into the posture. And again, it's okay if you have maybe one side you need the block or the blanket and the other side is fine. It doesn't need to have any extra support. And support is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We listen to our bodies. And just notice the shoulders pulling away from the ears. See what's going on in those hips and those hamstrings. Avoid any pain. Work yourself through any discomfort. See, eventually maybe you can take the blanket out if you had it under to start with. Maybe you lengthen that back leg a little more. Check in with your mind chatter. We have 1 more minute left. See if your belly can go further down towards your leg. Fill your lungs a little deeper with your breath. Notice if anything is shifting in your body. If you need to make any changes. I have 2 more postures after this. For the hips and the quads. And we can slowly work our way out now. Come all the way up to the hands. Slowly pull that leg back, coming to tabletop. Again, noticing the discomfort when you come out, so go slow, and then drop those hips side to side. And then we're going to find our hands under the shoulders and take your left leg, tuck the toe, and just press it to the back of the mat. And lengthen through the spine. Good. And then release. We have, like I said, almost there. So we're going to flip onto our bottom into our seat. This one, again, you might want to have a blanket under the sits bones if this is discomforting to you. So there's a few ways you can use the blanket. We're going to do, they call it fire logs or stacking. And so we're going to bring the feet so they're directly under the knees. Now, if your feet, if that's uncomfortable, you can take that blanket maybe and place it between the knee and the foot. Another option I like to do is just bring that foot maybe a little bit in front if the leg is way up high. So options there, or just put the blanket behind your hip. Nice. And this is a meridian, the kidney and the gallbladder I was talking about. And maybe you just stay here and that's plenty. And we're going to do this one for 2 minutes because it's a little intense. So we're going to walk our arms, or so you can stay tall spine, working here. If you have any disc issues, then maybe you just stay here and don't round. If you would like, you can round through the back and then bring it down. And again, you can also use a block here. Maybe you let your head rest on the block if that feels more comfortable to you. Or you can go all the way to the floor, again, depending on your ability and mobility and flexibility. You can do this. Breathe through it. It's also called square. Fire logs, square, stacking. 1 more minute here. Relax your shoulders. Almost there again. How are your hips feeling? We still have to do the other side, the other leg on top. We're not quite done yet. We're getting there. Maybe you're resting your chin in your hands. Maybe you're melting a little deeper. Maybe you're going further than you thought you could. That's exciting. As long as you're not having any issues there going on with pain or overstretching, slowly coming out. We're going to switch sides. But before we do, I want you to bring both feet flat and then drop those knees side to side. Good. And then you're going to switch. So we had, what did you have before? Did I have the right? Yes, I had the right on top of the left. I have to remember that. And now this time left on top of the right. And you can have, again, you can have that blanket between your foot and the knee or behind you on your sits bones. Now option 1, stay tall and just start to lean forward. So just going to feel here protecting that low back. If you have any issues, then stay there. If not, let's take it to rounding through the back and leaning forward. And just check in with the hips. So we're doing this one for 2 minutes. I'm shortening it just a little bit because I want to make sure we can get our last posture in after this as well. And then you can go about feeling so wonderful. Maybe you've got your block under your head, maybe your hands, maybe you're sitting tall. Just again, tune in to your hips. Close your eyes, focus on your breath. Notice what's going on. Notice if one hip is tighter than the other. That's normal, very normal. Feel the belly filling, feel the belly relaxing. 1 more minute. Now take notice of what's going on. Do you need to make an adjustment? Are you starting to feel pain? Are you forcing it? Try to back off a little if you're forcing it. You never want to have that happening. That tissue is gentle. You want to be gentle with the tissue. The tissue is not gentle. It can be sometimes, but we want to be mindful of what we have going on. And then we're going to slowly come out, nice and slow. Good. Now we're going to our last posture is our Shavasana. So we're going to slowly, slowly release those legs, straighten them out for a moment. Shake them out, leaning back. Good. Bend both knees, take them a little bit wider than your mat, and then just gently drop the knees side to side. Good. And now you get to lay all the way onto your back, slowly down. Now here's another thing you can do with the blanket, is just place it across those hips. It's a wonderful grounding, or your towel. Walk your shoulders away from your ears, palms up, and let your feet fall open. And just close your eyes and start to breathe. Long, deep, gentle breaths. And just notice what's going on in your body. Do you feel like an energy running up and down your legs or your hips? Close your eyes. Feel your neck nice and long, your head being supported on the mat. Feel your legs melting into the mat. Your palms are up, your fingers are relaxed. And the nice thing is, after yin, just feeling everything going on in your body. And if you drift to sleep, that's okay. That's a great thing to happen. That means you've released tension, stress, letting things go. As you breathe in, expand through the rib cage, and as you exhale, feel the belly pulling in. Again, make any adjustments for that low back that you might need. Just nice and quiet. Check in with your mind, that mind chatter, to-do list. Instead, let's turn to gratitude. Turn to our heart space right around the chest. And thank our bodies for everything they've done for us to get us to this point today. And today in our life, all that the body has done for us. Just take 2 more deep breaths. And then start to tune into your physical body on the mat. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And if you have a blanket, just slide it to the side. Go and bend your knees. Pull the right knee into your chest and then release it. And then your left knee into your chest and release it. And then shift on to one of your hips and roll into a ball on your side. Your arm is a pillow. Hug your knees into your chest. And then slowly press yourself up to a seated posture. Coming up back to our Sukhasana, nice and tall. Feel free to slide that blanket under that hip if you want. Again, those sits bones, pull the shoulders down, tuck your chin, check in with your posture. Feels so good. Thank you so much for joining today. Take a deep breath in, reach those palms up. Exhale to heart space. Namaste.